Proxy Table Gaming, PTG. I am Hyper G with Lucky Sixes.
Hola.
Hola to you. Were you Portuguese or were you Spanish?
No, it's specifically Portuguese because
Okay.
hola, and I'm not even sure you pronounce it, is Spanish. There you go, we're learning. We've started off, we're learning.
Yes.
Straight away,
Learning
let's go.
right from the off.
Which
Let's
means we
go.
don't have to learn anything else for the rest of the bat rep, right?
No, we don't, because this battle is definitely not about learning, because it is the new Saurian Ancients for Hyper G. Ooh, the little crack in the voice as he said the G.
Yeah. New
I'm
toys.
excited.
New
toys. I mean, it's been some weeks since we did the essay review and the book and everything, and I was quite pleased with what I saw about it. But I did have to get out of the way a little bit of a Cardiff tournament where I wasn't allowed to take them.
Yeah, it was just the timings just didn't work out, did they?
Yeah, by a few days. They didn't quite work out.
Yeah.
But it did mean I could sort of say farewell to the Feral Orcs for now and move into Saurians. And
yes.
Yeah. Overall, I salvaged the Cardiff tournament to finish relatively okay. It wasn't a complete disaster. So yeah, move on to Saurians. And who am I against? Statrat came out for another battle, which is cool. He's sticking with Empire of Sonnstahl at the moment, which was the same army that he used a few weeks back when I fought him. I think I actually played against him with my old Saurians.
Yeah, right. Okay. And what was the score there?
I got the win. Put me on the spot there. I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember what it was, but I got the win.
Folks.
Yeah, I think it was like a 15 or 14 to me or something like that. Statrat has changed his list ever so slightly, and obviously I'm using a whole different army, kind of. So let's see how we go. Rolled up a nice and easy frontline clash and hold the center. So good. You know, there's plenty enough to think about without some fancy deployments.
Yeah. So this is it'll make it very much on the units rather than their utility and objectives. Really.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just who can hold the center. And so this is what I'm going with my new Saurian toys to play with. So
was this the first look? Like, was this like the first thing you thought of and liked, or?
Yeah, this was what I liked from the off. I mean, obviously, my recent lists have been very much about cavalry, scoring cavalry as my utility.
Yeah,
and also about trying to have a big unit in core that is tough as nails. And so I try to use the core tax as my best unit. So to my advantage, if you will, rather than spending points on a special unit or anything like that. I try and make most of my core points tough. That's kind of the thing I go with, and then scoring cavalry to go alongside them. Yeah. And so I've stuck with that as a template because I'm liking it. It isn't like world beating or anything like that, but I'm doing okay with it and I'm enjoying it. And that's kind of the thing I'm going with. So starting from the top, we've got the Anarach Archmage, which is the old Quattle. He's using Druidism. Now, with my old essay, I'd converted to Druidism anyway. I'd actually dropped the Quattle in my old list and was using a Skink Priest on a Palanquin.
Yeah.
So the fact that I can now actually use an Anarach Archmage on Druidism is amazing. Because previously, SA and the Quattle couldn't have Druidism. But now he can. So I didn't need the Skink Priest. And funnily enough, the new book doesn't even have Skink Priest.
Yeah, you couldn't if you wanted to.
I couldn't even if I wanted to. So fortunately, I've still stuck with Druidism. So I'm continuing that theme because I actually really like it. And I don't need to worry about the Sun Tablet, A, because it doesn't exist, and B, because the Anarach can take spell 5 anyway, which is obviously Stone Skin. So that's what we want. Magical Heirloom for an extra hereditary spell, Rod of Battle, and Forbidden Mastery, which means he's got 2 Pyro spells as well, which is really cool.
Pumping out the spells. So how many spells does he have?
Oh, he has 8. 8 spells. Just him, yeah. And he's also Channel 2, or he can give up Channel 2 in exchange for +2 to cast instead of +1 to cast.
Nice.
So that he's a real caster.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I've put a lot of points into getting extra spells on it, but he's pretty good. I mean, for 610 points, that's pretty much your magic covered.
Yeah, man.
If you wanted it to be. Moving into the Tegu Veteran, who is now the amalgamation of the 2 Saurus characters. So there is no Lord or Scar Veteran. etc., or Warlord, whatever they were called. Now they're all just a Tego veteran. I really like their stat line, and he's gone with a 2-up armor save, which is Shield, Willow's Ward, light armor, and 5-up to begin with, which is really nice. And then the 5-up Aegis save on the Talisman Shielding. And again, similar to Shagger, really. I've got the Potion of Swiftness to mean that you can go quick with a spear if he needs to.
Yeah.
And Glory of the Dawn Age, which is a new version of it. Instead of it being multiple wounds 2, it's now like +1 strength and multiple wounds 2 and lethal strike on a 5-up to wound.
Yeah.
So slightly less reliable, but it's still pretty darn good. So yeah, really liking it.
You didn't have lethal strike with the multiple wounds, though, did you, before?
No, so, lethal strike wasn't there at all.
Yeah, like you said, you
don't think it was.
Get multiple wounds 2 on everything, but when you do,
when you do, it really hurts. Yeah. So moving on to my core, which is the 35 Tegu warriors, so the old Saurian warriors. There's no totems anymore, so no more crocodile ban totem for a 3-up armor save. There are 4-up to begin with, and they'll stay at that. But they still have pretty much what they had before, which is the spears and they've got built-in musicians now, which is cool. So they don't have March to the Beat, but they have them automatically, so you don't have to pay for them. Gone with Banner of the Relentless Company, which I have since realised, and it didn't matter for this battle, but I've since realised that the way I'm playing it, and I'll skip to further down the Thyroscutus herd. The way I'm playing it is the Thyroscutus herd joins the Tegu warriors, and they become a combined unit. However, the Banner of the Relentless Company doesn't work on non-infantry. Yeah. So technically, it's not an illegal setup, but they don't work.
You're
together.
Losing out.
Yeah, basically the Thyroscutus herd cannot march 15 inches. So what's the point in putting it on the unit, that sort of thing? But it doesn't matter in this battle, so don't worry too much. I think it's actually a few battles before I correct it, but we'll see how many we report on, etc. So, but the Tegu warriors have an Enclave Wizard, or Enclave Wizard, depending on how you want to say it. And that gives them Awaken the Beast and Channel 1, which is insanely good in core. I mean, it is like 80 points or 70 points, whatever it is, but it's well worth it. And Awaken the Beast is a very good spell, certainly to complement Druidism.
Yeah.
Then they're joined by 20 Skink Warriors with another Enclave Wizard, so another Adept who's got Healing Waters and another channel. So it takes me up to Channel 4, which is very easily achieved with SA, which is nice. And then 10 Skink Hunters, who are kind of a new unit in core, who have light troops, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So instead of you having the little silly, like very unmobile, what's the opposite? Immobile. It took me a while to get to. Instead of having them, you've now got a light troops unit, which is really cool. Already mentioned the Thyroscutus herd. He is a Monolith and Vitalism on his Haldar device, which means he's a BSB. Only a 12-inch range because that Thyroscutus herds are large rather than gigantic.
Yeah.
But it's the only way of getting a BSB in the army, unless you take the Koru Stone, which is a banner.
And you'll also notice, for people this is the first time with SA, there is no general.
No model is allocated to general. They are all
you can't have a general?
You cannot have a general. Yeah, you cannot. But a lot of the units, the scoring units and the combined units, the compound units, give out commanding presence. Yeah. So, yeah. If you want to know how it all works, then check out our SA videos.
Yeah, man.
Or just strap in and enjoy the ride. So, yes, the Thyroscutus herd joined to the Tegu warriors gives them parry, which is insanely good. He has parry himself, so yeah, you're using spears, but you've got parry. That is just nice. And when you're only defensive 3, that's so useful. So useful. Then I've got my 2 scoring cavalry units, which, as I say, is kind of the thing I go with. One of them has a banner of speed for extra movement. Otherwise, they're pretty samey. Except for, skip to the bottom of the list, one of them is going to have a Carnosaur in it.
Yeah, baby.
Which is another compound unit. Loving it. It looks beautiful on the board.
And not mount anymore. You just have it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Just have a Carnosaur. I mean, he has actually got a Tegu warrior riding him, but, with a light lance, which is still cool. But he gives one of the Raptor rider units Fearless and... there's something else he gives.
Battle Focus?
Yeah, battle focus to the mounts. That's right. Yeah, to the raptors, which is cool. 2 units of Skink Gorillas, the chameleons, because I like them.
Yep.
And they kind of become my only chaff, really. or my most mobile chaff, I should say, because technically I've got a salamander and a spearback. A lot of people were saying the salamander's days are done, i.e. the breath weapon isn't as good as a flamethrower. There has also been some counter arguments to it, i.e. you can use a breath weapon every player turn instead of just on your turn. So technically you can use it in your opponent's turn as a stand and shoot or in combat. So there's pros and cons to it, but I'm sticking with it to see how it goes. And we'll see how he does. Spearback, as I say. And then the Taurosaur with the Lodestone Shield, which is now cheaper than the Engine of the Ancients, but it only affects shooting.
Shooting, not range.
So 5 up Aegis to shooting rather than range. So it's no use to you at all against magic.
Or DTs.
There's the Carnosaur at the end. Or DTs, yes, indeed, yes. Yeah. Cool. Also, it's 8-inch ranges, so it's 6-inch range. So, yeah, there's, again, pros and cons.
Yeah.
But yeah, really looking forward to seeing how this goes. I'm going to tweak it as we go, but this is the first time out for us. So yeah, let's see how we go. Now, into StatRat's list. This is his list from last time. It's not his list for this battle. I didn't have his list for this battle. For some reason, I forgot to ask him for it, and I didn't. But I can tell you the differences. So he's still got his Divination Wizard, I believe. There's going to be a lot that I believe because it's on memory. He's still got his Marshal, Prelate, and Knight Commander on horses, and they go with a big unit of Electoral Cavalry. So that is very much the same. He has managed to get in Caradin's Courser in there somewhere, the magic item, which gives him a one-time reroll charge range.
Cool.
So that's in there somewhere on a character or whatnot.
Probably the Knight Commander. He doesn't look like he's got.
In fact, it has to be on the Knight Commander.
Okay.
Or a Marshal, technically, so it could be on one of them. But yes. The magic items are sort of switched about a bit on what he actually plays, but essentially he's got the same setup. He's got a unit of 10 Electoral Cavalry instead of 5, which has meant his heavy infantry is a lot smaller. They're just like a unit of 20 heavy infantry.
So he's got 115 and 110.
And 110, and then a small heavy infantry in his core. Yeah. Okay. 40 Imperial Guard, I think they stay in their numbers as they were before, because he loves using them with the Arcane Engine and Foresight. Which means that they get lightning reflexes, which cancels out the great weapon problem. So really nice combo that StatRat likes to use. I believe he might have taken out the Imperial Rangers. I don't think they make an appearance, but what does make an appearance is a unit of Writers. So 5 Writers.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Instead. Yeah. And he also took out all of his artillery. Not all of his artillery, sorry. He kept the same steam tank still there. Because he's got a very heavy model that he loves using, and why wouldn't you? It looks great.
Yeah, it is.
So steam tank stays. The artillery goes, but with the points that he's saved from all the changes he's made, he's got a Pegasus character, who I think becomes the BSB, and was set up with, I think is it Death Warrant or something like that.
Okay.
So which isn't on the prelate now. There's something or other, which makes him very killy on the charge, essentially. So yeah, we've got the Pegasus character. So let's see how we set up. Yeah, here we go over in StatRat's den with his guitars and bikes. Well, what was interesting, I think I dropped for first turn. This doesn't look like battle line actually. This looks like it might be a bit. This looks more like counter thrust maybe. Looking at it, because I'm a bit far forward, unless I've moved already. I don't think I did. I look very far forward, so maybe it's not battle line. But anyway, well, this is pretty much how we start for whatever reason. So we've got a unit of Chameleons on the left. We've got a unit of Raptor Riders without the Carnosaur. The unit behind is the Light Troops Skink Hunters, and they're joined by Salamander, which means that they become a compound unit, which is really cool because that means they give out a commanding presence as well. Loving that. Spearback's just in front. Then I've got my big block of Tegu Warriors, and look at that beautiful block. I mean, that is a big old.
How wide are you going there?
Well, funnily enough, because myself and StatRat, we were very much in the this is a friendly game mindset. I could not, for the life of me, find my 8-wide movement tray. I think it's because I've given it to Gobbo with the Ferals, who he's painting up at the minute. Doing some touch-ups to their bases, etc.
Sure.
I couldn't for the life of me find the base I wanted, so I found this one and I just I filled it up. It seemed fun at the time.
Yeah.
So I think I'm about 10 wide, maybe something like that, which is obviously not a great idea, but they're still killy because of it. So Yeah, they've got the Tegu veterans in there in the front. I think you can see his weapon waving above the spears. The Thyroscutus is the Happy Meal toy. Yes, I will continue to use it until someone buys me a Thyroscutus. Please do. Donations are welcome. And the Quattle, the Archmage is in there as well somewhere. Over on the other side, I'll go back to Statrat's army in a minute. Over on the side, we've got the Stygiosaur, who is now Carnosaur, as far as I'm concerned, in with the Raptor Riders. And that unit looks so cool. So cool just having that set up. And also we've got the Taurosaur with the Lodestone Shield, who, on reflection, is a bit too far out wide for the whole Lodestone Shield. Although, of course, Statrat doesn't have a lot of shooting. He's really only got the steam tank now.
Just the cannon, yeah.
It wasn't as much of a thing. And then the Skink unit behind, because they know, and we all know, they're just a scoring unit. So my idea with them is really to just back up the Tegu warriors in the middle and then grab any objectives that the Tegu run past, really. Cool. So going back to Statrat's army, the writers are on the left-hand side as we're looking at them. They've vanguarded up, I think, already. I was delighted to see his big unit of electoral cavalry with all his characters go right in the corner.
Yeah.
There was no real need for them to be that far back. You know, counter thrust, if it was that, doesn't really make them go that far back. But Statrat was just put them there, and I didn't really query it at the time because I thought he must have a master plan with that. And yeah, we'll see how that works out. But that's a lot of points that's over in the corner and a long way from my unit. So I was quite pleased to see that. His Imperial Guard are in the middle with the wizard. The blue thing is the wizard. Then he's got his Arcane Engine and his steam tank sideways. You know, Statrat knows all the tricks with the old pivot move. And then you can see there's a well and there's a statue, and above the well is a base with just rats on. That is a good old proxy Pegasus character. So yes, that is not just a unit of rats. It's a very scary BSB character.
Yeah.
And one thing to mention is Statrat loves his terrain and having like a story to the game. So he pretty much made a village on the board, which is obviously not really how you meant to play in terms of terrain. You know, it's supposed to be 6 inches apart and all that lot.
Yeah.
We just went.
What is the terrain on the left? You got a hill.
So on the left, you got a hill. You got 2 forests either side of a ruins. In fact, that ruins might be impassable just because it's impossible to get things in it and balance them.
Yeah,
so I think we made it impassable. You got a well for no reason at all alongside a statue, and then you got 3 buildings which are all impassable, which take up a lot of that board. So effectively, you're not really fighting in that much space, really.
Sure.
The pile of dice in the middle is the objective.
Center, yeah.
So, and then over on this side, you got another big hill, huge hill. Statrat puts his other cavalry unit on that side, which is why I had my Taurosaur just
10, yeah.
keeping them honest, really.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see how we go. So he gets the first turn by the looks of it, actually, and moves up behind the hill, which is fine. It's just too far for the Taurosaur to charge anyway. Over in the middle, he sends his steam tank gunning forward as far as he can, and it rolls really, really high. I don't think it was really Statrat's intention to go that far, but with random movement, you got to take what you get.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah, that steam tank's going for it, really. He moves his BSB Pegasus back into near the other models and keeps them in reserve. And he does the order, which gives +4 march to the cavalry unit, which is really cool. I didn't really appreciate that. And all of a sudden, that cavalry unit is right up.
So does that take them to March 18th?
Yeah, because they've got a banner on. So,
it might be 20.
Yeah. So he literally just moves all the way forward, which is, like I say, really, really cool. Just looking at the orders. Yeah, +1 advance rate and +4 march rate. And that can, because they're standard size, they can have it, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, that cavalry unit that was hiding in the corner, not so much anymore. It's coming around. His cannon does a measly 1 wound to the spearback. You know, wow. Could have easily just killed it, especially without the Lodestone Shield there. But
just took his tail off.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. He'll grow that back, don't you worry.
Yeah.
Yes, so that was unfortunate. And the Reuters, who have moved around, do a measly 1 kill on a chameleon, which is a bit disappointing from their part, really. I know that the chameleons are -2 to hit, but still, you'd expect 1 or 2 more. And because I've got a compound unit nearby, where they didn't require a panic check, but they still would have had a non-rerollable 7, I believe, on cold-blooded. If they
didn't only 1 more wound, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. Cool. So into my turn, and I decided to go for it. I want to test my Tegu unit with anything. Steam Tank is a real tough son of a gun, but I've got my Tegu Veteran who does multiple wounds too. If you can roll some,
and lethal strikes,
right? And lethal strike will get right through the armor.
Yeah.
Also, I've got spears, obviously, which will be AP 2 with my Tegus, and I've got spells that can also buff me up with strength and AP as well. So I was feeling quite confident with that. And also seeing the cavalry go round the side, I figure if I just go gun straight, kill everything in front of me, and then turn back and deal with the cavalry later, I've got enough chaff on this left side to keep the cavalry busy for a little while.
Yeah.
So that was my thinking with charging the steam tank. Chameleon unit and raptor unit with the Carnosaur is moving around to the right. I leave the Taurosaur behind to guard the flank on that side, and my other raptor unit is just biding its time with the light troop skink hunters. My chameleons just turn to face the Reuters, really, just to see what they want to do. Okay. Shooting, well, the chameleons show the Reuters how to do it. Kill 3. Admittedly, it is with a bit of help from the salamander, who does his breath weapon, and the skink hunters as well, of course.
But they don't panic?
Yeah. No, they do not panic. They stay there. So, yeah, Reuters are fine with that. I think my spearback probably was helping with the shooting as well, actually. Yeah. So it's moved there. I think... Oh, and in Magic, whatever I've done, the Archmage has taken a wound from Pyro.
Flaming Swords.
Flaming Swords, yes. Flaming Swords is off. Yes, that's right. So he did take a wound from getting that card.
Presumably trying to stop Awaken the Beast for the extra AP.
Yes, I would imagine so. Yes. Didn't really take too many notes on what I didn't cast and what I did, but essentially I got Flaming Swords off, which is great because it means my Tegu warriors are woundy on 5s. So.
Yeah.
And then in the combat, I'm feeling really confident and really happy with my Tegu warrior unit. I'm loving the way they look, and I just think they're world beaters, and nothing is going to stop me. Nothing is going to stop this unit, except the fact that they left their teddy bears attached to the top of their spears. And
nothing will stop them apart from the first thing that they come across.
Yes, that was exactly it. And man, I was so like, oh.
So what? You just did no wounds, or?
Well, I'm hitting on 3s. I mean, let's start with the Tegu veteran, right? He whiffs entirely. Doesn't roll any 5-ups to wound, and that means he is still AP3. But I think Starrat rolls 6 on his armor saves on the 2 that got through, and okay, so my Tegu veteran does nothing. And then with Flaming Swords on my warriors, I actually work out for the first time that, hang on a minute, this Styroscutus in the middle takes a lot of my attacks away.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of my attacks are gone. I don't have many spears that are actually in touch with this steam tank. And I will say this is the last time the Styroscutus is in the middle of that unit. Because it doesn't have to be. It's not a war platform.
Yeah.
Which is even better. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I'm poking away at this steam tank. I do 0 wounds to it, literally 0. Maybe 1 that isn't showing, but yeah, it's unbreakable anyway. I mean, what was I thinking? Thinking I could do 7 wounds to it when I do 1, but yeah, apparently, the steam tank goes back and does its steam cannon, kills a few in return. I mean, I hold. I'm not sure if I lose or not.
It's unbreakable,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I probably just about win.
I suppose you don't get ranks actually.
No, precisely. So I mean, I've got a BSB, I've got a charge, I've got a standard. I did a wound. Maybe I even drew the combat.
Yeah.
So, but it was really not what I was after from my first experience. And that's even with Flaming Swords as well. I was wounding on 5, so I really thought
I suppose AP2 though is 3 up armor, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. It's not that hard to pass, yeah. So, yeah, there we go. And what I didn't really appreciate in the fact that holding against the steam tank was that unit of cavalry. Let's just go back a couple of pics. It shows it a bit more. That unit of cavalry with a banner of speed and the orders could be movement 9, and they've got a reroll charge. That is, in fact, only a 10 rerollable to get into my flank. And I did not see the danger at all with that. Obviously, I can't now reform the Tegu warriors in the middle because I'm in touch with certain models because of the thyro scooters and everything. You know, my setup was not ideal. And oh boy, was I lucky that Statrat did not roll his rerollable 10 to get in my flank, because it could have been Coitons for new SA right there if he makes that rerollable 10. He fails the charge and just goes to there. Oh man, that could have been a short battle and a let's just not play Saurians then. They're rubbish.
Yeah.
No, that would have all been my fault. I mean, I didn't think that was a 10. Looking at it, looking at the picture even now, it looks like a really long charge. But hey, they got buffs and all sorts. But what he does do is he charges the Imperial Guard in the front. So, you know, that's not fun, because I've got a lot of Imperial Guards striking against not many Saurian warriors. Oh, Tegu warriors, sorry.
And they're bodyguard, aren't they?
Yes, his unit are. But only bodyguard providing the wizard's alive.
Sure.
So, you know, there is that. What else have we got in this picture? His Reuters, the 2 remaining, decide that shooting is old-fashioned and charge the chameleons, which is fine.
Yeah.
What else have we got? I think the Pegasus guy moves up in front of the chameleons.
Yeah, you can just see it.
And the Arcane Engine is offering his buff to the unit. The other scoring unit isn't really doing a whole lot, kind of doing the same thing.
Does the buff only work for rank and file?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Would it work for the mounts as well? So, like, if the horses? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
That's cool.
I'm not sure of the terminology, but I think so.
Sure.
So, going into the combat, which I'm very fortunate not to be fighting cavalry in my flank as well.
Yes.
I lose a few, but not that many, really. And I finally do some wounds to the steam tank, and it's a bit of a push right there. No one breaks. The Imperial Guard didn't do a whole lot. They didn't do as much as they could, but they are only 1 attack each, and we're only attacking in 2 ranks. So it wasn't that many attacks that they were adding. And the steam tank, obviously, just didn't do too many either. I think I've done 3 wounds now to the steam tank. So yeah, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. Certainly not with a cavalry unit in the flank, anyway. And I still had flaming swords up at that point. So you know, and I've now reformed to be a much more sensible 8 wide. So, because I had a whole load of models who were out on this right flank and not doing anything as well. So that helped, and that probably masks the amount I lost, really, because they've now joined in the fight. Over here, these chameleons, man.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my days.
I know.
That's funny, man.
I mean, you know, Statrat was like, never playing writers again. It was ridiculous. It really, really was. Over into my turn. I move the chameleons around the Pegasus guy and just say, charge me with whatever you like.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like tried to ask Statrat what the guy was carrying to find out if he could kill a Taurosaur on the charge. And the conclusion to it was it would be close. Yeah. It would depend on whether I could like roll a couple of 6-up armors or something like that.
Sure.
If he, I think he had like 5 or 6 attacks, something like that, and obviously I got 6 wounds, so there was a good chance I was going to survive. But if I lost the combat by a decent amount, I could be running.
Because you're not stubborn or anything.
Exactly, not stubborn. But I did set it up so that if he did want to go into the Taurosaur and he didn't kill it or make it run, then my Raptors are going to charge his flank. So there's that.
Just something I noticed on the steam tank. There's
Yes.
a blot toad.
There is indeed. Yes, it's probably worth mentioning actually. The Carnosaur has predator sensors, which is the old Ramfordon rule. Right. So he gets rerolls to hit against a model. It's only against one enemy model, and I put it on the steam tank because
is it enemy model or enemy unit?
Enemy unit, yeah. Okay. So yeah, so I put it on the steam tank because I like the idea of the Carnosaur, who actually I got this slightly wrong, and it didn't matter. Fortunately, in this one, the Carnosaur has multiple wounds too against standard and large. Steam tank is gigantic, so I got that wrong. In that, I was thinking I was doing multiple wounds 2 against the steam tank, and I wasn't. I mean, I was still strength 6, AP 3 or 4, so it would have still been quite tasty, but it wouldn't have been the multiple wounds. And re-rolling to hit when you're only offensive skill 3 is obviously very nice. So,
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So yeah, and I mean, obviously, if the Pegasus guy decides to charge the Carnosaur unit, then that's scary because I think he can kill a fair few raptors, maybe even hurt the Carnosaur, who's only got 5 wounds, instead of 6. But I think I hold that because I'd be steadfast.
And he is large, so you would get the.
And he is large, too. So yeah, if he doesn't kill me before I strike, then yeah, that would be a problem. And then I just charge the Taurosaur into the flank there. So we'll have to see what Stamina wants to do. But effectively, I was saying, give it a go, and we'll see what my units can do. Really, I'd move my spearback to face the cavalry on that flank because I like spearback's AP ability. So I think I was shooting and making it 3-up armor save instead of 1-up. So, and Statrock would still need a turn to get into any decent position on that flank, so I could feed him my rear for now without any threat.
Sure.
The skink unit that's hanging around behind the Tegu, they hope that the Tegu aren't going to lose this turn because if I do, it's game over anyway. You know, and they just go to be ready to chaff over on the other flank. And over here, I get the charge with the skink hunters into the flank of the Reuters. And yeah, the Reuters not going to survive even to that. But... I didn't need to because the chameleons would have handled it. But yeah, exactly, yeah. And I moved the Raptors forward. They are Raptor riders as opposed to Raptors. Obviously, I haven't got riders on those ones, but they're just chaffing, which is a shame because they're not really a chaff unit. 8 2-up cavalry.
Yeah, it's about 300 points.
So exactly, yeah. But they were my best chaff at that point, while the chameleons dealt with the Reuters anyway. So, but I am very much getting ready my 3 skink units as the next 3 chaff units for that cavalry. You know. In the combat, guess who wakes up? Tegu veteran. Boom! There goes the multiple wounds. Steam tank goes down.
Nice.
And yes, finally,
So it looks like you got flaming swords off again.
Gone. Yes, got flaming swords off again.
Yeah.
I like we say, I've got Awaken the Beast for +1 strength and AP, which is probably better to stop than flaming swords.
Yeah.
And I've got like Oaken Throne and Stone Skin, all of those things, all Druidism nastiness. I think I might have even been growing back models as well because it looks like I've lost like none in this picture. But that's because I gained like 6 before the combat and then lost the 6 that I gained, that sort of thing. So Druidism is lovely for that. I mean, you know, I've said in the past, big yawn, but I'm not feeling the yawn with the boring Druidism in this army. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm knocking down the Imperial Guard as well with my own Tegu, which is nice. So we'll see how.
Have you gone after the wizard?
I can't see if he's behind the Thyroscutus or not, but I think I do at some point to stop them being bodyguard, but they hold for 1 more turn at least.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and you see the Archmage has actually taken another wound from Pyro Magic as well, so he was successfully hurting himself with that forbidden magic. Over into here. So Statrat not only declares the charge with the Pegasus into my Taurosaur, but he also backs it up with the impact hits of the Arcane Engine, which I hadn't factored into my mathematics.
Yeah.
However, this is a post-combat picture.
Say what?
And he did 1 wound to the Taurosaur. Oh, this was a battle of fluffing. It really was. The Arcane Engine didn't roll well on its impact hits. I completely survived that.
Brutal.
The Pegasus guy did very little. And the Taurosaur just stomped back on, not literally stomped, but attacked the Arcane Engine back, did 2 wounds to it because the Pegasus guy was 1 up armor.
Yeah.
And I hold. I'm not even sure I even lose that combat. Maybe I did with a charge and a BSB. I might have lost by 1.
Yeah, sure.
But effectively, because I've got my BSB Thyroscutus nearby and a scoring unit, I'm rerollable Cold Blood 8.
Mate.
And what a result that is. In the other combat, I mean, the Imperial Guard, obviously, I haven't got a turn to grow back models before the combat, so it looks like I've lost a fair few. I mean, I'm bleeding wounds here and there. Statrout decides to start attacking the Thyroscutus just because.
Yeah.
So it does a few wounds on that. I'm not really sure who that wound pool belongs to. I don't think he did 4 wounds to the thingy. Maybe.
It looks like 2 to the
Archmage.
Because he's already taken it. 2 to the Thyro and 1 to the Tegu.
1 to the Tegu, I think. Yeah. So I think
unless one could be a champion, I guess.
Yes, potentially, because the red models on the top right are a 4-model champion, effectively. So yeah. But yes, he was going for points really now, trying rather than killing the unit. And his Imperial stick around for 1 more turn. So they did well to do that. They definitely killed plenty of Tegu to stick around.
Yeah.
Over here, Statrout charges in, obviously, and kills the Raptors. Not a problem whatsoever.
You would expect, yeah.
Indeed, yeah. So that is a big unit to him. Into my turn, and I charge my Raptors and Carnosaur into the flank of the Arcane Engine. It was a little bit tight with the building being there as to whether I could get in, because he couldn't, obviously.
Could you potentially have charged the Carnosaur out on his own?
No, not allowed to do that with a compound unit. So it doesn't work like a character in that regard. But it would have been worth considering. The only reason my Taurosaur is that side of the Arcane Engine is because of the pointy things and the horns. So he is actually dead in front of the Arcane Engine. But yes, get the Raptors into the side of the Arcane Engine. They can then, that's a good situation to be in. And obviously things are going my way in the middle with the Imperial Guard. They're losing wounds rapidly. Yeah. So looking good. Now, what I do on the left-hand side, obviously, is I use my chameleons to chaff the cavalry. Have you spotted the slight issue with what I've done? It's not massively easy to spot, depending on whether you're paying attention to what I said earlier.
Is the ruins impassable?
Yes.
Yeah. So, my guess would be that they can't go to you.
Correct. They can't complete the charge and move into the impassable. Therefore, my chameleons would close the door, which would mean he's pretty much facing the way he's facing
carries
now.
On, yeah.
Yeah. So I need these Tegu in the middle to finish off these Imperial infantry now, or I'm going to have the same problem I had at the very start and managed to avoid for the last 2 turns. Yeah. However, things go well with this combat. I kill the Arcane Engine, overrun into the flank of the Pegasus, so the Pegasus will now get crunched.
Slowly. So he holds, does he?
He does hold, yeah. No, does he hold? Wait for it. Maybe he doesn't. Wait for it. I can't remember the order of combat and everything, but
yeah, sure.
Yeah, it looks like I've gained maybe a couple of Saurian Tegu warriors.
He's only down to 10 Imperial Guard now, so I don't know.
Yeah, so we'll see the next picture. Yeah, it finishes. It finishes, yeah. So I kill all the Imperial Guard as well. And that's just a blowout turn, really.
Man.
My Raptors catch his Pegasus, which is awesome. Leave the Taurosaur in the dust, which is nice. I'm heavily winning the objective in the middle because I've had the Raptors and the Tegu warriors to his Imperial Guard the whole time. I'm able to move the Tegu warriors, who look almost as big as they started, to face the cavalry.
From this angle, I guess from this angle, you're not as wide.
Not as wide now, but I'm still decently numbered, really. Yeah. And at this point, I still don't know that my chameleons are not chaffing his unit. So we worked that out in a minute.
At least you turned around.
Exactly, yeah. But a few pictures on, and I think this is going into my following turn.
Yeah.
Because in Statrat's turn, he charges the chameleons. My chameleons close the door, as we said. He kills the chameleons and he overruns, but doesn't hit my Tegu unit.
Yeah.
Is an inch away, which means I then charge into him, which obviously does mean my spears are not as quick. Agility 3 on the charge instead of 4 if he charged me.
Lances.
But he doesn't have lances, and so that's a fine thing for me. I am in a forest, so if I screw this up, that could be a problem. But I'm thinking to myself, I've got magic. He hasn't got a wizard anymore, so he hasn't been able to buff much up. Well, he has got his prelate spells, but I can shut them down pretty easily. Just let him get flaming attacks off, that sort of thing. Elsewhere, my skinks have now decided, we don't need to chap anymore. And what I did as well, I put the light troops unit behind the cavalry just in case I needed a rear charge later.
Sure.
But yeah, that's fine. Statrat knows that his other scoring unit, his heavy infantry, can't do a lot in the face of the raptors, so they're not doing much. I think the cavalry on his left, our right, have also decided to pretty much go home, so they can't really achieve much. I keep moving forward with my Taurosaur, etc., so the charge never becomes doable. Effectively, he's only got to there, and my spearback's just shooting him one by one. Not very well, but
playing the long game.
I think Statrat probably declared a charge with this unit needing like 11 or 12 and failed it in his last turn. So they're really not getting anywhere and not really causing a problem. And this is our last picture. I do charge into the unit. I'm attacking at the same time as his units. His characters kill 3 or 4. I've obviously used Druidism to heal a few wounds on my important stuff as well. This is the last picture because there was nothing left of the cavalry once I finished with it. I'm pretty sure that it took a couple of turns, like in my turn and then into Statrat's turn for it to be finally finished off.
At this point, are you smaller than 8 wide? Are you adding ranks?
I don't think so. No, I think I was still maximizing attacks. Because I think his unit was either 6 wide or but either way, it was good in the end. I think I got a little bit lucky with preventing the cavalry flank charge.
Yeah, a few charges and overruns and stuff.
I mean, I suppose a re-rollable Swift Stride 10 on average. Someone do the mathematics on that one, but it's doable.
Oh, well, I get it every turn.
You get it every time, of course you do. But yeah, I think I got a bit lucky that didn't happen, because if I get that cavalry unit in flank, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done for.
It's a tough one.
But as it happened, in the end, despite fluffing on the steam tank, I mean, look at that Tegu unit. It's still pretty healthy, and it's gone through a steam tank, Imperial Guard, a whole unit of cavalry.
Res 4 up armor and Druidism. That'll do.
Claim the objective. Yeah, nice. So I gave it a 19-1. We didn't count up. Sarah did kill my unit of Raptors and a couple of chaff units.
Yeah.
So I put it down as a 19-1. It might have been a 20-0. All good, really. Good start for the Saurians. And I'm liking my idea of the Druidism Archmage.
Yeah.
So I will be continuing with it.
Very solid. I think it's either that's a really solid base, or you go proper aggro with div. That seems to be the two to start off with. Cool. But
I think there are so many different ways you can play Saurians with this new book. So I would change it up, but I kind of want to go with what models I've got.
Yeah, give this a little while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we'll see how it adapts in the coming weeks. But yeah, loved it. Thank you, Statrat, for the game again. Obviously, he doesn't play much, so it's good to see him on the table. And we'll roll on. Let us know what you think about the new Saurians and what you think any tweaks should be as we go forward. I'd love to hear opinions.
Yeah, what are your favourite? We'll go for initial takes. Your hot takes to start off with.
Hot takes. like hotcakes. Oh, and I missed my cue. Actually, I meant to say something. Other Cokes are available.
Nice.
Product placement. I was
I
disappointed.
was going to say sponsored by Coke, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's like Jurassic World or whatever it was, where every scene had some product placement in the background. Yeah. Nice, cool. We roll on. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Support us on Patreon if you'd like to. And keep the comments rolling in. We say it every time, but the comments that are coming in are brilliant. Thank you to those who comment regularly. If you haven't commented yet, please get in on the act because we love replying to them all.
Yeah, and we do try and get to them all, but you guys do so many that we'll miss some. But yeah, keep prodding us.
Yeah, definitely. It's really good engagement. So thank you. And yeah, this is kind of between tournaments, actually, isn't it? Because we've just finished Cardiff, and we're very shortly going. You are going to.
I'm going to break through. And we're also doing international stuff, so we're very busy.
Indeed.
At the minute. So it's quite nice to do like a little short bat rep like this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Cool. All right, we'll leave it there and roll on the next bit of fun. For
yeah,
PTG.
man. Lots to look forward to. That could be smoother, isn't it? See you later.